Hello guys, my name is Luigi and this is the Garmin Fenix 6X Pro. Let's get right into it. Smartwatches can be expensive but also really useful. And if you're looking for a watch that has precision, accuracy and an amazing battery life, this watch might be the one for you. Let's start with the specs and build quality of this watch. It's a 51mm watch with a 1.4-inch display with very thin bezels all the way around it. The outer bezels of the watch are made of steel, which give it that very robust but also very solid look. The whole watch itself weighs 91 grams, but without the strap, the case itself actually weighs 66 grams. It can connect over Bluetooth and Wi-Fi to your home Wi-Fi network. You can download music and you can also connect your wireless headphones to it. So if you want to go out for a run without your phone, you can still take your headphones and connect them to your watch. It also has Garmin Pay, which obviously you can add very self-explanatory. You can add all your credit cards and debit cards and you can use it as an Apple Pay or a Garmin Pay. Obviously in this case it's Garmin Pay, it's not Apple Pay or Google Pay, but it has that functionality. So when this watch was first released in 2019, it retailed for £649, but nowadays you can find it on Amazon and other websites for under £550 or around less than 600 euros. The overall build of this watch is incredible. It feels good, it's built incredibly well like we know from so many Garmin watches, but it's also quite a big watch, so a 51mm watch. But again, it doesn't feel extremely big and it doesn't really get in the way, at least not for me. And I say this because for me it does look massive compared to the watch that I've been wearing every day for the last 4 months, which is my 42mm, I think 52 or 41mm G-Shock. And if you see them side by side right now, the difference is quite big, especially around the watch face. But again, for some reason, it doesn't feel that much bigger and it definitely does not get in the way, especially when I'm doing strength workout. So if I'm playing golf, it doesn't really get in the way of my swing and it doesn't really get in the way of my lifting. I do some adjustments here and there, just kind of move it about, but it really doesn't feel like a much bigger watch than the 42mm G-Shock watch that I wear every day that I've been using for the last 4 months. One of my main concerns when I first got given this watch by one of my friends, Phil, I'm glad that he mentioned it, it was that the screen is not touch screen. And I thought at first it was going to be like, that's going to be a bit of a struggle. But actually it's a lot better this way than having a touch screen. Having a touch screen on a watch, especially if you're wearing it to the shower, if you're wearing it to swim or anything else, you might mistap or mispress things because you're trying to work out a very little screen with your finger, which is substantially bigger than using a finger on your phone. So the good thing is that you have buttons around it to control it, which makes it much more comfortable to navigate around and much more precise to navigate around. And again, the buttons do have a lot of travel on them, so even if you lightly press them, they don't really press fully, or they don't really function. You have to properly press them. So even if you just slightly tap it, or maybe you have it a little too close to your wrist, so even if you do this, you might be pressing it slightly but it doesn't do anything. So you have to really go in it and actually press it to actually function a watch, and that makes it a lot better than having to use your finger to trying to navigate the menu system, because sometimes when you're pressing it, you press it the wrong thing or it doesn't kind of like go in it right away. So it's good that it's not touchscreen, which again, it kind of keeps it off having any sort of fingerprints. So then, because you're never really going to touch the screen, you're just touching all on the sides, it keeps the screen fully fingerless, or at least less fingerprints than if you were wearing a touch screen watch. So that's a really good thing actually. I prefer it that way. Much more precise, much more easier to navigate around the menu system on the watch. The features and technology that this watch packed are absolutely insane. Obviously, this is not even one of the most expensive Garmin watches, but it's definitely up there with some of the higher end watches or smartwatches that we've seen. It can track basically any activity under the sun, from snowboarding, golfing, swimming, running, triathlons, multisport, whatever that means, rowing indoors, outdoors, cycling indoors, outdoors, skiing, hiking, backcountry skiing, uphill skiing, climbing, all these things and so many more that you can't even imagine, which gives you the freedom and the peace of mind that whatever activity you want to do and you want to track it, This watch, well, 99.9% sure, will track it to incredible accuracy and with GPS and with information that you probably didn't need, but it's cool to see it. I use this watch mostly for 3 activities: going to the gym and using it as to track my strength sessions, going to golf and playing golf around different golf courses around here in where I live in West Yorkshire, and to snowboard. Again, I only had it for the last 10 days, 2 weeks mostly. So all the snowboarding that I get to do with the watch has been indoors. But if you go outdoors, you know what you can get. So with the strength sessions that I track with this watch are actually quite good. So obviously you can use the watch, it gives you a bunch of information in terms of like heart rate and kind of like when you're resting or anything. You can also track your sets, your reps, the way that you've lifted as well. And obviously you can time your rest and time your working sets, which I used a lot. I tend to turn around the watch face, have it here, so it doesn't get in the way of when I'm lifting. I do a lot of weightlifting, so I tend to bend my wrist back quite a lot. So sometimes it just gets in the way just that time. But again, I do this with every single watch. No matter how big or small the watch is, I tend to always turn around the watch face and put it kind of like facing the same way that my palm is facing. So I don't have anything there. That's just me being picky. A lot of people just use it like that and it's completely fine. And then obviously when I'm doing lifting and when I'm doing like gym sessions, I get really sweaty. And this is something I do appreciate from the Garmin. I don't know if it's just me that I don't sweat a lot, but the Garmin watch, the strap that comes with this watch, it has ridges around pretty much the whole thing, which makes it really easy to lock up with the bands around here. So then this doesn't come loose as fast. And I really haven't had it loosed since I got it, because in the previous Garmin watch, it was more like aesthetic type of strap. And that sometimes can come loose quite a lot. It doesn't get in the way of my strength session, doesn't really get in the way of any of my gym sessions, which is really good. And I use it a ton to track my workouts, track my rest times, and kind of like working sets and stuff like that. And also keep track of all my reps and sets and stuff like that, which is really helpful because then I can look back into the workout and see how I perform, but also see kind of like what I want to achieve in the next one, see if I need to push myself a little bit more or pull back a little bit more as well. But in the activity that I've seen, probably the most helpful and probably that I got the most out of has been with golf. With this one, has 42,000 courses saved from all over the world. Obviously uses GPS, so even if you are at the golf course and you haven't downloaded it previously, with the GPS it'll detect which golf course you're in. You can select it based on the area that you're in. You can select the tees, whether you're going playing for the men's tees, the women's tees, and then from there on you can score it through there as well. It will know the scorecards for the whole course, and then again it will give you a yardage, incredibly accurate. It will give you yardage to the fairway, give you yardage to wherever the green is. If you kind of like really close to the hole, then it'll give you yardage to the pin. It'll give you yardage to the front of the green and the back of the green. This is incredibly helpful, especially for me. I've been playing golf for the last year. It's been great to choose clubs. It's been great, especially when playing in new golf courses that I don't know, and at least I have an idea of the distance. These distances are incredibly accurate by my understandings, and by all the reviews that I've seen, they do agree with the same statement previously mentioned. There are incredibly accurate distances and yardages, and just overall accuracy of tracking any activity. It is really, really accurate and fast as well. And for snowboarding, again, I've only used it a couple of times with snowboarding. If you're outside, this will be great for when you are in the Alps. Maybe you're in France skiing, or you're in Italy or whatever. This will definitely, the GPS section will help a lot. Obviously you'll see all your runs. By the end of the day, when you've saved your activity, you'll see where you've been, which runs have you gone down to. You will also see the amount of runs that you did, the elevation, temperature. You will see the average speed, your top speed for your runs, and things that are kind of fun to see. Again, for me, I've only used it to be indoors, so all I can see and all the useful thing I can see is the amount of runs that I did, average speed, top speed, and basically the amount of kilometers or meters that I've traveled over my snowboarding session. But this is something that I definitely will be amazing to have out on the mountains. Previously mentioned, this watch has an insane amount of activities you can track. I'll just read you a few. So you have trail run, ultra run, virtual run, track run, indoor track, obstacle racing, hike, climbing, bike, bike indoor, mountain biking, e-mountain biking, cyclocross, gravel bike, bike commute, bike tour, triathlon, swim run, adventure race, red landings, climb indoor, bouldering, ski, backcountry snowboarding, XC classic ski, and so much more. Literally, you can carry on and go. true swing as well, tennis, pickleball, paddle, horseback riding, and so many more. Again, there are insane amount. Anything, any activity you can track or you can think of, I'm sure Garmin has it in this watch, which is insane. But what's the point of having an incredible watch with great features, a good size, if you don't have a good battery? Well, this watch has an amazing battery. It's advertised to have up to 21 days of battery life on a single charge and up to 45 days on kind of like standby or low power mode. But I would say that you're expecting more like 15 to 18 days of battery life on a single charge if you're going to be using it every day to track something. If you're going to be tracking a run every day, or if you're going to the gym every day and you're tracking it, or if you're doing like a gym session in the morning and a run session in the evening, and then you tend to cycle a lot in the weekends and stuff like that, then obviously that's going to take the battery down. Or if you're going to be using it for music while you're on a run as well as tracking it, that's going to bring the battery down. But I think you still have an amazing battery life, which you're probably going to have, again, probably between 15 to 18 days, maybe 12 to 18 days. So you have a bigger gap there. But again, it's way more than any other smartwatch that you probably see in the market in terms of the Apple Watches, Pixel Watches, Samsung Watches, and Huawei, and all the smartwatches. The most popular smartwatches that we see right now have probably 2 to 3, maybe 7 days of battery life. So this is a watch that you can wear it and forget about it, and even when you remember about charging it, you probably still have another week left to charge your watch to full battery, and again, I'm forgetting about it again. And the overall software experience when you're navigating through the menus and when you kind of like seeing it to either look at your notifications or dismiss and clear your notifications, it's pretty fast. It doesn't really buffer, it doesn't really lag, it's pretty quick. But again, I'm using it mostly as a watch that can track a lot of activities and that I can see my notifications, and not like a smartwatch like a Pixel Watch, Samsung Watch, or an Apple Watch that is mostly a small phone on your wrist. This is where the next question is key before making a decision, before buying a smartwatch or before buying this watch. What are your goals with the watch? Are you looking for a watch that you can track a lot of activities with, and you can maybe look at your notifications at a glance, but you're mostly looking for sports and performance and incredibly accurate stats and measures and GPS and speeds and stuff like that? Or are you looking for a small phone on your wrist? If you're looking for the latter, then this watch is definitely not for you. If you're looking for the first one, so if you're looking for performance, training focus, looking at notifications at a glance, great battery life, and a good software experience, then this watch is for you. This watch is definitely closer to a watch with an amazing computer built in, while still looking and feeling like a regular watch, and is less of an actual smartphone on your wrist like we see with the Samsung Pixels and the Apple Watches that we see right now. And again, there's nothing wrong with it, but this watch is going to be for those that are looking for mostly performance, for those athletes, and for those looking to take their training to the next level, or to kind of like have something that resembles more of a watch, or you can glance over to notifications without having to tap, or without having to kind of like try and reply to messages on here. You won't be able to do that on this watch, and that's absolutely fine, which I think that's why I've liked this more than my previous Garmin Venue watch, because I was much closer to an Apple Watch and an actual smartphone on your wrist than this. This feels closer to my G-Shock watch that I wear every day, but with some extra fancy features than all of the other smartwatches that I previously mentioned. That is all for me today, guys. Make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and comment below what do you think of smartwatches, and which is your favorite smartwatch, if it's this one or if it's any other smartwatch. But I'll see you guys on the very next one. See you later. Bye.